Space, an endless, dark, and mysterious sea filled with uncharted territories. What do we even know about the universe outside of our own planet? Barely anything. Space is vast and infinite, and its absolute uncertainty fuels a deep desire for understanding. Naturally, as humans, we want to explore. We want to ask the questions that may not have answers. If only there was some sort of experience that could possibly emulate that perfect sense of wonder that one feels when dreaming of the universe.
Wow, check out this crazy alien planet. I mean, look at this place. It's so bright, vibrant, and different from Earth. Yes, sirree, they just don't have places like this back home. Now to harvest this planet's precious resources for my own personal gain. I gotta keep my carbon up, you know?
No Man's Sky is an absolutely disgusting display of how much an indie developer can get away with nowadays without anybody batting an eye. In its current state, it's honestly a robbery. It's a product filled with lies and just the right amount of vagueness. But how did this happen? How did we let this happen? Let's take a look back.
In 2013, Hello Games announced No Man's Sky for PS4 and PC, a brand new space exploration experience that claimed to be unlike any other. With 18 quintillion possible planets, you were guaranteed that each and every planet would be completely different, with its own animals, ecosystem, and plant life.
The mere concept of a game so large sent players into shock. 18 quintillion planets? With a new experience on every single planet? Not to mention the planets that Sean Murray showed off at E3, those were incredible. However, there was one issue that right away Sean Murray just couldn't decide on. Multiplayer.
That's right, No Man's Sky has multiplayer. The idea of flying through space with your friends, getting in intergalactic dogfights, discovering uncharted territories together. This was enough to make people who were skeptical about the actual playability of the game immediately buckle, because no matter what you were doing, you would not be alone in the galaxy. Now this is great and all, except for one issue. There is no multiplayer.
I can't believe this! I just can't believe this!
Hey, Dad, keep your
you
voice down.
whore!
On August 8, 2016, Sean Murray announced on Twitter, "To be super clear, No Man's Sky is not a multiplayer game. Please don't go in looking for that experience." Gee, really, Sean? Are you sure about that? Because I think someone disagrees with you. Sean Murray, meet Sean Murray.
You guys are literally building your own, like, massively multiplayer world that's procedurally...
Do we ever get to see ourselves?
No, you don't see yourself, so the only way for you to know what you look like is for somebody else to, to see you.
Can you run into other people, other players on the game?
Yes.
Will you be able to play with your friends?
Yeah.
So maybe multiplayer was planned at one point in time, but they just couldn't get it working because they're such a small developer. That's fine, I could accept that, if Sean didn't continue to lie about it right afterwards. Sean goes on to state, "The chances of two players ever crossing paths in a universe this large is pretty much zero. We do have some online features and Easter eggs so people can know that they are playing in the same universe. It's about cool moments." Continuing to assert the idea that the game is multiplayer. But almost just for the purpose of spiting Sean, two Twitch streamers ended up on the same planet, the exact same spot, and nothing happened.
Yep, that's the same one.
And to make matters worse, some of the copies of the game shipped with multiplayer on the box! What? How does that happen? I'm seriously asking. It's your game. How do you not know if it's multiplayer or not? That doesn't make any sense. I can't believe this.
Sean Murray's like that kid in second grade that would come into class and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, my uncle works at Sega. I just got done playing the Sega Dreamcast 2. And you're like, "Oh yeah, really, dude? Oh, that's cool. Why don't you take a picture of it?" "Oh, my uncle just got fired from Sega. Yeah, I can't go over there and play it anymore. They took it." And you're like, "Oh, all right. You're a liar. You're just a liar." But regardless of scandals and lies, No Man's Sky did come out. So let's take a look and see if there are any redeeming qualities.
Well, for starters, if you're playing on PC, good luck. It's horribly unoptimized. How is it that I'm able to run GTA 5 with perfect settings, but No Man's Sky stutters like Porky Pig having a seizure? The most recent patch fixed a lot of these issues, sure, but when the game released its requirements, GTX 480 was the minimum required video card. I have a GTX 980 in this computer. There's no excuse for it to run like this. Not to mention, the PS4 version ran just as badly, so it really makes you wonder, did they even test the game on the hardware before they released it? Anyways, onto the actual game. For one, there's no tutorial. I understand a lot of games don't have a tutorial nowadays, but for a game that claims to be unlike anything you've ever seen before, maybe it needs a tutorial to let you know what the hell you're doing? You start out crash landed on an alien planet, and you need to mine resources to get your ship off the planet. This is where the lack of tutorial really hurts, because let me tell you, I'm an idiot. For a guy who loves video games, I sure do suck at video games, and pretty much everything in general, including minigolf. So since I'm a moron, I went, I don't understand, there's plutonium in the ship, why isn't it letting me take off? It took about an hour for me to figure out that I'm supposed to refill my ship by holding the button over the elements to refill the ship. The holding down the button design choice is another one I really want to talk about. The mechanic of holding down the button to select things is straight up stupid and it slows down gameplay. I hate it so much. This is ripped straight from Destiny. In fact, most things here seem completely similar to Destiny in regards to aesthetic and mechanics. The game is essentially Destiny with less story and no multiplayer. The saddest thing here is, Destiny on the Xbox 360 looks twice as good as No Man's Sky on PS4 does. On top of all this, the inventory system of No Man's Sky is disgustingly bad. The game is based off the farming of resources to craft items, but your slots are severely low, making you unable to craft most things that you need. The entire point of the game is to fly to a new planet, mine materials and craft things, refill your ship, and drive to a new planet to mine materials and craft things. That's it.
Yeah, at the moment you can land on asteroids.
The game in general is just ugly. There are flat textures in a $60 game. I legitimately have not seen flat textures in the game other than Minecraft since a PS1 game. You don't even have a shadow or a hand. It boasts 18 quintillion planets, but after going to just 20 planets, I felt like I'd seen all of them. Same place, different color. There's nothing interesting about any of the possible planets that makes it worth flying from planet to planet, especially when that can take up to 3 real-time minutes to fly to.
The biggest lie that Sean Murray told, other than multiplayer, is the depth that he claimed that the ecosystem and animal life of each planet had.
He claimed that animals would hunt and eat each other as well as attack and hunt you. This is not true. I've never seen any animals attack each other, and any animal that attacks me barely dies with any difficulty at all, which means that you would never need to update your rifle. The animals all look like Sean Murray just got high one night and dicked around in Spore. This one is just a cow with chicken legs. The music is awful and forgettable. It sounds like a partially deaf homeless band sat outside an orchestra and tried to recreate it using things he found on the street. It is possible to have music that is ambient and still interesting and memorable. Take, for example, Minecraft or Terraria. The music is something you immediately recognize, even if it's not a main focal point of the game. But you immediately recall experiences from the game just by hearing the music. No Man's Sky has nothing like this. Listen to this. Was the music procedurally generated too?
Now don't get me wrong, there's some great things about No Man's Sky. For example, I love the naming feature. But without a doubt,
the one point where No Man's Sky is the most interesting is the interactions with alien life forms. You can trade and converse with aliens to get new materials and buy things that are difficult to find in the universe. However, in order to understand these aliens, you need to find these ancient statues called monoliths that have learning stones around them that will teach you a new word each time you find one. The main monolith itself has a scenario that you'll have to answer correctly in order to get alien artifacts that you can sell later on the space station. This is the most interesting aspect of the game, but it's so thin and has virtually no impact on the game. Talking to these statues increases your standing with the Gek and the Atlas, but what's it matter? Nothing happens as a result. Maxing out your standing with a Gek does not benefit or change anything. Had No Man's Sky taken this feature and perhaps focused on fleshing out the interactions and relationships with aliens and struggling to communicate with them, this would have possibly led to much more of an experience.
If I can't have friends in real life, you bet your ass I want to make friends with some sweet alien life forms. And this is something that Mass Effect does so well. The idea of befriending an alien, learning about their species and their culture, and forming relationships with them. It's that sci-fi element that we crave. I mean, think about how boring Alien would have been without aliens, or how boring 2001: A Space Odyssey would have been if Hal never spoke.
We next spoke with the HAL 9000 computer, whom we learned one addresses as Hal. Good afternoon, Hal. How's everything going?
My issue with No Man's Sky is not that it's a procedurally generated game. You can make a game procedurally generated and still make it fun. Take, for example, Rogue Legacy or Death Road to Canada. Both of these are procedurally generated games, but they are more action-adventure, not exploration. In order for No Man's Sky to have been successful, it would have needed to be more like Minecraft. Whoa, hey, listen to me, give me a shot here.
Think about it. In Minecraft, you wander and explore, set out to build your own buildings, survive, make discoveries. You're trekking the land but still having fun. The music and atmospheres are memorable, and there's so much in the game to do, so much potential for enjoyment. Even with all this, the game is procedurally generated. It's just a single planet, but it's created so well and it's so interesting on its own that I only care about this planet. I get more enjoyment out of this one plot of land than I do an entire vast planetary system. Well dang, wouldn't you know it, the game updated while I was making this video. I've really got to work on getting videos out. Anyways, this new update brings about exactly what I was just talking about. Base building. With base building in No Man's Sky, you can pick a home base and start building whatever you want on it. You know, you wanna make a pillar that's 17 feet high in the air, you do that, buddy. I mean, it's absolute freedom. You can do anything. But honestly, the base building aspect of No Man's Sky is a nice addition, however, it just makes me crave multiplayer even more. What's the point of building a base on a planet I'm never going to come back to? It would be nice if I could at least invite some buddies over to check out my cool base and kill all the animals on my planet, but you just can't. What's the point of building these if no one's going to see them? That, again, is where No Man's Sky just falls flat. No matter what update you add to this game, if you don't patch in multiplayer, you have a flop.
Every planet in every solar system is fully destructible.
But hey, if you like No Man's Sky, great, don't let me ruin it for you. But it's important to note that there was a lot of shady practice going on here. In fact, so many people felt cheated that the Advertising Standards Authority has officially opened a case of false advertising for No Man's Sky.
I can see how someone who avoided learning anything other than the name and premise could enjoy the game, but for the rest of us that followed it throughout development, the end result is unacceptable. I mean, for a game that boasts absolute endless freedom, you can't even crash your own spaceship. In such a vast, large universe, I've never felt more alone.
Sean Murray, when we first met, I thought you were the center of my universe. When I saw No Man's Sky, I thought I was seeing stars. You pulled me in like the pull of a black hole. But now you're just being an asteroid, and I think we need some space.